Dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. But then I found a group that changed my whole perspective. Our success group of a community so effective. We all chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we rise above. No more feeling set, we're fueled by love. Our small business is shining, reaching new heights. With the support of our success group, we're taking flight. Our word is strong, the vision so clear. Building our dreams with no more fear. Together we're resilient, unstoppable force. With our success group.
Let's talk some business.
All right, welcome in Small Business Rock Stars. Welcome to Small Business Saturdays Live. I am so glad that you are here, and I'm not sure where that came from, but removed from scene. Interesting. Well, we're not going to mess around with that. We're just going to go right over here. All right, so welcome in. So as you can tell, no Kylene today. So I need the live viewers to get interactive with me here. If you are tuned in live, tell us where you're tuning in from and all that kind of fun stuff. We're going to fix up a couple things on screen here that just don't seem to be working this morning. But we're talking about something that I believe is crucial to our success today, aligning your business with your SVPs. And what are the SVPs, you ask? Well, stay tuned. We're going to get into that in detail. But in the comments, I want you to tell me what drives your business. What foundation is your business built on? So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Aaron Montgomery, and I'm the author of this book here, The Fundamentals of Business Success. And SBF is SBS, Small Business Saturdays. Is something that I get to do with my wife, and we share practical real-world strategies to help take your business to the next level. As you can tell, she is not here today, so again, I need you guys in the comments strong and bringing it and telling me your thoughts and giving me your feedback on these ideas here. Thank you, Barb. Appreciate you checking in. Hello from North Central Minnesota, everybody. So again, SVPs, we're going to get into that a little bit, but what is the foundation that your business is built on? What's important to you? And so we want to talk about that today. Also, one quick reminder, happy Saturday to you, Rena. I appreciate you being here, tuning in. As the kids say, right, smash that like button, hit subscribe, share this with a fellow small business owner, and we will get into it. I'm kind of excited, so I might be all over the place a little bit. We just got out of the last of our Goal Getters workshop programs, and wow. I cannot believe how many goals we're going to get, right? All the goal getters, the people that invested in themselves, both some investment of resources, right? We get that's got to happen, but then investing in the time. So had 4.5, we'll call it. Somebody had to leave a little bit early, but we had 5 people this morning that invested part of their Saturday morning to be with us and walk through the workbook. And man, I know we made some really big progress. I've already hearing tons of great insight from everybody that had a chance to be part of the Goal Getters program. So if you watch the webinars and you may be stuck, please reach out to me. Unfortunately, we are done with the workshops now, so we don't have any workshops left, but I am available for consulting if you'd like some help really kind of getting an action plan around your number one goal for the year. We've got a really cool, proven process that I laid out in the webinars, but we went into depth and had an opportunity. In fact, somebody just posted in the Entrepreneur Success Hub today, Wendy Rossman, shared how my insight helped her unlock some things. And it was really awesome to watch her kind of change and just, I could see it, right? It went from, I don't know what I'm going to do to this is going to happen this year for me and all of these other things that are going to happen. And she's somebody who's already achieving massive goals. And so to see her take it to that next level, kudos to her and kudos to everybody that took the time to be part of the workshops over the last week here. had our fourth and final one today. All right, so enough about that. Let's dive into these ideas of the SVPs here. What I want to start with is a little bit of the mindset side of this. So SVPs, for those of you that aren't familiar, stands for our strengths, our values, and our passions, right? And hello again, Craig. Thanks for being here. And yay, Wendy, Chandler says. Good stuff there. All right. And Craig was one of those people that was in the workshop today. So kudos to Craig, kudos to Chandler, who was part of it, and everybody that is becoming a goal getter. And again, maybe you're becoming a goal getter on your own there with what information we share with the webinar. So kudos to you too. All of you action takers out there. That's who we're celebrating here today. All right. So back to the SVPs, strengths, values, and passions. And first, I want to talk about why this is important and why I believe that this is a crucial key to unlocking deeper success and fulfillment. And self-awareness is a big part of that. Right? So the strengths, values, and passions, they're going to provide clarity and direction. And here's how I came to this realization. I spent 40 plus years of my life not believing that there was a purpose for me, right? Like I was just that oddball that was just meant to kind of work hard and show up and do that kind of thing, which again, not necessarily a bad thing. Work hard, show up, right? Those are good qualities, but I never believed there was a purpose or a reason for me to go any deeper. And so I spent a lot of years, right? The 40 plus years is a lot of years going through the motions, right? I had a very successful career, helped build some companies in some amazing ways, and got to be part of lots of cool things. But I never felt fulfilled. I just never felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do, right? Honestly, I felt like I was living somebody else's life and dream. And so finally I had this realization that I needed a way to figure out what my purpose was. And I tried all the tricks, that was why I would show up at all these self-help things, figure out my purpose. So why am I doing this, right? I love Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. And he even has another one called Find Your Why. And all those things were great, but I never felt any closer to my why. And then I just happened to have a chance encounter with a gentleman who's become a friend of mine here locally. His name's Dan Vincent, and he is a Clifton Strengths coach, among other things. But Clifton Strengths coach was what he was talking about at the time. And I said, oh, well, shoot, let me try that out. That sounds interesting. I have no idea what I'm good at and what my strengths are, right? Whatever that is. And so what I discovered was those strengths actually tell you what your purpose is, what you're put on this earth to do, right? Because you wouldn't be put on this earth to do a certain thing and then not be given the tools, the strengths, the values, and the passions to be able to accomplish those things, right? It's just not the way, it's not the way God works. He's not that kind of a jokester, right? Oh, you're supposed to do this, but you'll have to figure it out on your own. That's not the way it works. So just aligning your business then back with these strengths, values, and passions, it unlocks a key it unlocks a door that I think a lot of people are missing, right? Because how do we get more motivation? How can we be more resilient? How can we keep going when we don't feel like it? Well, yeah, because you're chasing down the wrong path, right? The way to do that is through your reason. Your reasons have to be bigger than your excuses. You've probably heard me say that before. So self-awareness of this is huge, and it was a huge step for me. And I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, we're trying to follow the latest trend. We're comparing ourselves to others. All of these things are what seem like the common thing to do. That seems like what everybody else is doing. Well, I have to keep up with the Joneses. I have to, what's my competitor doing? If I'm not doing that, I'm falling behind. Right? And the opposite's actually true. I want you guys to look inward and understand that your path is your path and your path alone. Right? We can learn from others, absolutely. We can take inspiration from others, absolutely. But when it's about comparing and trying to, again, keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, that external pressure is going to be too much. And we're not going to have that fulfilled feeling. And therefore, we're not going to take the actions needed. We're not going to get outside of our comfort zone. So let me give you a practical, reflective exercise you can do right here. Okay. I want you to just take a moment and let go of everything else around you, right? Stresses, anxieties, fears, shame, regret. We talked about that in the workshops, actually. Letting go of those fears, shames, and regrets, the things that drain your energy, right? Let's just assume, let's act as if none of those things are true. Okay? I'm not saying they are or aren't. That's for you to determine. That's a choice that you've got to make. But let's just play with that, right? Let's act as if none of those things are true. So from that space of what excites you the most about your business, why did you start your business together, right? What's the why behind it? What excites you? And then from that space, look back at what you just spent your last week doing. Were your tasks aligned with what you're best at, with what you're passionate about? So in the comments, who's willing to share? Right? Were your tasks aligned with what you're best at and what you're passionate about? Okay. So that's the mindset, right? That's the mindset behind strengths, values, and passions. We have to look internally, and this gives us a point to look internally too. And then we can create a reason, right? So problem solving, significance, impact, those are some of my strengths. Humor a little bit too, even though it's bad dad jokes, humor is humor, right? And so for me, it's cultivating an uncommon mindset. I like to think differently, so that's where I find solutions. I'm a bit competitive, right? So I want to push myself and others, right? And so for me, cultivating an uncommon mindset in business owners by equipping them with fundamentals. Here, I'm going to equip you with it. I'm going to give you this book. Sorry, that was really crazy to throw that into the camera as fast as I did. Fundamentals to build fulfilling, goal-achieving businesses, right? I want proactive people. I want people that are willing to push themselves and set goals and go for goals and things like that. So that's the first part of this. We got to realize we got to turn that mirror around and look into it ourselves. All right. And Chandler says, the Joneses scare me. And she also shares, yes, they were actually, right. You were aligned, you were excited. And then my 9 to 5 just fell into place, which is good for me and my reason. Absolutely. Right. See, that's the other cool part is once you're in that place of in that energy's high, like things just seem to magically fall into place. But the truth is they're not magically falling into place. They were just waiting for you to get out of the way, right? They were waiting. And so it says, I may have not got everything done, but what I did, it all had to do with my number one goal, right? And Rena, this is great. And I think the why changes and evolves over the years. I'm definitely at that point again. Right. And that is 100% true, Rena. Thank you for bringing that up before we get too far away from this mindset side of it. Now, I'm not arguing with Rena at all. I would definitely highlight the evolve part because honestly, I don't believe that it does actually change. It might change externally, right? And the language might change, but the actual internal emotions, feelings, passion of it does not change in my experience and in my opinion. All right. So let's leave it at that. But I agree 100% that it evolves over time. We begin to uncover more. We begin to understand it deeper, right? Because at its core, my reason has been the same since I believed that I had figured it out, but it has evolved drastically in 5 years. And so such a great point, Rena. Thank you so much for sharing that. And Chandler says, yeah, I normally get my own way. We all do. It's human nature, and that's okay, right? We're meant to take action, but we're also meant to get out of the way sometimes, right? And the best way to get out of the way is to go back to what you're aligned with. Go back to your lane, so to speak, and your lane is your strengths, values, and passions. So really, really good stuff. So awesome point. Thank you, Rena. Craig, for me, my 9 to 5 is falling out of line. Okay, there you go. And so you understand that. And now, Craig, you're taking actions to look for ways to get back into alignment. And I love that, right? Being willing to invest 3 hours of your time this morning to spend with us doing things that, not always the most comfortable thing to, dig into some deeper bits and pieces, right? So kudos. Great job, everybody. All right. Well, let's get into the next section here. This is definitely another passion topic of mine, so I could talk for hours and hours and hours, and you guys got things to do. So let's get to the meat here. All right, let's talk a little bit about wellness before we get into the actual fundamentals of this here. And wellness, again, for those that are new to Small Business Saturday, or maybe you need a refresher, we talk about wellness here because we believe in a holistic approach to ourselves as business owners. And so wellness doesn't always necessarily specifically mean, hey, go to exercise, eat better, stuff like that. Absolutely, that will help you as a business owner to be more physically fit because you have more energy, you're going to be able to sustain longer, etc. Right? But there's also the wellness from the mental aspect of our wellness that we need to look at. And so I think SVPs actually go into that, right? We talked about alignment and how we're getting better understanding of it, but then also what Chandler said, getting out of our way, all those things are kind of more about our mental wellness. And I think one challenge that I've seen for most business owners, as a business owner, you wear all the hats, right? You're responsible for everything. We're not necessarily very well trained as kids to be business owners anyhow. In fact, I heard a stat the other day that I actually think might be a little big based on my experiences. But think about, as business owners here, think about the people around you, right? So my son's off playing volleyball today, and he's got 11 other kids on his team, and all of the parents outside of Kylene and I work for somebody else. And they are all amazing people. And because they work for somebody else doesn't mean they're any less or any more, right? They work for somebody else, and none of them have a side hustle, right? So none of them are business owners. And so 1 out of 12, or in our case, 2 out of 24, and there's some steps, so even more. So anyhow, the number was 10% of Americans are business owners. Only 10% of Americans are business owners. So we're very unique, right? And so we have to think differently. And if we try to use the same mindset that is kind of put out there, that common mindset, we're going to be burnt out. We're going to feel misaligned. We're going to have stress. We're going to not have, so this whole idea of disease, it's actually dis-ease. When we're in flow, our body is going to heal itself, right? Now, I know I'm not making that as a blanket statement, but our body's going to have a lot better, let me say it that way. Our body's going to have a lot better chance at healing itself when our mindset, when we're not overcome with stress and anxiety and burnout, right? So when we're in alignment with our SVPs, when we're living in to our strengths, we're more in flow. We feel good. We are taking bigger and better actions. We have an increased satisfaction, and we get in alignment, right? So it starts there. Then that allows us to even take it the next step, and then we start building. We start putting blocks on top of the next blocks that really your business just aligns with your core values, right? And from that place, you're going to create more authentic relationships with your customers, which is going to make you feel better. You're going to have deeper, more long-term trust with your customers, with the vendors that you work with the relationships that you have around, right? Some of the people that are my closest friends are the people that I get to work with inside of the business, right? From our Masters of Success group to other mentors and peers, and just so much better when I'm in alignment, right? And so you have that feeling that your business is just part of who you are, right? Because that's the other side of it. When your business is just part of who you are, it's not difficult to share it. You don't feel like you're selling all the time. It's just who you are. You're just sharing your gifts with the world, right? And then the other part of this that we can understand is that passion plays a big role in resilience, right? Because if we're passionate about something, go back to the idea that our reason has to be bigger than our excuses, right? If we're just like, it's a job, I'm making money, right? Then something hard comes along, I don't know, right? Like, we're really good at justifying why we don't, or why I can't, right? We then start throwing that I can't word out there, and we've given away our responsibility. And sorry, we're not giving away our responsibility. We have given away our responsibility. But the big thing for us is we've given away our power. We've given away our ability, because now there's an external factor that has to be right for you to be successful. And that's not true. You have everything inside of you that you need to be successful. But the second you say, I can't, you've now given away that ability. You've given away that power. And so this passion, understanding what you're passionate about, right? You're going to find yourself in flow. You're going to do hard things because you just got that passion for it, right? So I encourage you. In fact, I'm going to give you a quick tip that's inside of the wellness thing here. And I want to hear who's willing to commit to this. And doesn't need to take a lot of time, but I want to encourage you to, maybe it's when you do your weekly review, or like weekly planning, right? So I spend some time on Sunday evenings, where I can, and if not, try to get to it on Monday morning. And I say try because I will be honest, I don't do it every single week. That's the goal, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. Right? So I will tell you I do it more than I don't, and I because when I look back and when I didn't make that time, when I didn't have that purposeful trade out of time to do that, then my week is less productive, right? So anyhow, wherever that time is for you during that weekly moment, focus on some tasks that you can put on your schedule that you are passionate about, right? Maybe it's not exactly at the top, right? It's not a burning fire, but you've got some passion for it, right? So maybe it's creation. Maybe it's taking some time to make some designs. Maybe it's, connecting with your customers, having a sit down, a coffee with them, something like that. But just put one thing, make sure that you always have one thing on your list every week that you're passionate about. All right. So put in the comments there, A, are you willing to commit to that? B, what are you going to put on for next week? What's going to be one thing you put on your task list for next week that you're passionate about? And no judgment at all, right? So if you feel judged, you're the only one judging, okay? Let's just leave it at that. You have complete control over that. All right, last bit here then. Now, you might be going, okay, Aaron, I'm willing to think about this whole SVP thing a little bit more. How do we put it into action? How the heck do I even find it for starters, right? So this is the fundamental. These are the actual action steps that you can take. First off, pointing to your strengths is going to be the first part, right? I really do think that our strengths are kind of the linchpin, but the values and passions kind of tie it all together, make it a nice, pretty bow. Cool. I'm going to get to that in a second, Chandler. Awesome. All right. So what comes naturally to you? Right? What do you just naturally do? Like maybe you look out there and you go, why is that so hard for that person? Or why is that so hard for people in general? The opposite of that is probably your strength, right? Not the opposite of that, but that thing that you're going, I don't understand why that's so difficult. That's a strength of yours, right? Where do you feel like you shine? Where do you have that kind of like, no problem. That's easy, right? What do people come to you and ask you advice for? That's probably also a strength, right? So look at those things. That's the strengths. Now there's some other great ways, and in those other great ways that you can look at these options for strengths there is a what do you call it, assessment out there, the VIA character strengths, which is a great assessment tool. Clifton strengths is another one. High five test is another one. So you can get some help, right? That's a possibility. I'm happy to work with you guys on some of that. A couple of those are free. Clifton's not, but I think you can actually get your top 5 from Clifton for free. Maybe I can't remember. Maybe it's really cheap. I can't remember which it is. High five's free. The VIA character strengths is free. So I will get some links into the comments of these, both on YouTube and on Facebook here after the fact. Okay. So I'll add a couple of those in there. So that's strengths. Values. Right now, with values, an actual kind of hack here to figure it out is write down a list of all the things that drive you a little bit nuts. What are your pet peeves? And this list should not be, not should not be. This list is not a person or a thing, right? Like, oh yeah, Aaron drives me crazy when he says, right? No, it's not a person or a thing. It's a action. What's the action that is the pet peeve? And then look at that list and then figure out what the opposite of that is. Right? So impact is one of my values. Significance is actually the word that I use. The opposite of that is kind of laziness, kind of like not willing to put yourself out there. Right? And that's a pet peeve of mine. I don't get mad at people. I understand that it's just a value, right? It's just something that I hold as a value, so it really stands out to me, right? Maybe the other side of that would be something, not necessarily laziness, but a value that somebody could hold would be to, be calm, and just not who I am, right? Necessarily. So, what are your values? What's non-negotiable for you? Like honesty might be a value. Okay. So I'm never going to be the person that tries to pull a fast one on my customers. Right? Oh, right. And I'm not saying that if you've ever like done something that maybe in the end you weren't feeling good about it, that now you've gone against your values and it's not actually a value. But what I'm saying is what's non-negotiable for you? What really holds true? Okay. So that's values. And then passions. What areas excite you? Going back to what areas excite you and get you energized. So I'm very passionate about being able to guide people. Like I left all of those workshops with this, oh man, yes, I was passionate. I was energized. So excited. Right. And so what are those things? I am passionate about volleyball. Right. But what I understand is volleyball is just a mechanism. What I love about volleyball is it's the ultimate team sport. And so it's an opportunity to figure out how to make your teammates better by getting better, right? And so the coaching aspect of it, the teamwork aspect of it, all those things, those are my passions. Okay. All right. So that's the first thing. We've got to identify what they are. So let me get to Chandler's comment. Going back to what we talked about is what you're going to put on your list as a passion project this next week. I am, and I think I will add music. Actually, I get to my career passion every day, but for myself, karaoke it is. There you go. So some karaoke for Chandler. And then one of her values is accountability. I love it. Love it. Perfect. Okay. So that's step one. Identify what those passions are. Step two here is let's figure out how aligned you are to your business. So the acronym for our success group is OSG, but OSG also stands for outcomes, structure, and growth. Sorry. Wow. It's like shiny object going on there. All right. So outcome, structure, and growth. And so looking at your current outcomes, the current structure of your business, and your current plan to grow, take your SVPs and understand where you're out of alignment, right? Okay. What are the outcomes that I desire? And what could I change in my current structure based on my strengths, values, and passions that would help me get closer to that outcome? And with that in mind, what's my plan to implement that? What's the growth plan? Again, the SVPs go right in the middle of it because it will tell you where you're lacking, right? Per se, if it's lacking or where you need to make adjustments, right? So just review things. Maybe your product offering is out of alignment, right? Maybe the way you're marketing your product is out of alignment. I was working with a friend of mine, a client of mine also, and he is a handyman, right? And very clear values about what they are. In fact, very faith-based, which is amazing, and what they're trying to do. And, we all get caught in okay, we need a new strategy. Things aren't going well. let me go to YouTube and find a guru, right? And this guru suggested this particular strategy. And while I know the strategy would work for some people, I knew it wasn't going to work for them. Right. And so we talked about that. And I said, well, okay, yeah, I get the strategy, but that's going against some of your values. And so you can try it if you want, but I know it's not going to work for you. And what ended up happening is they gave it a shot, and they, cut a few corners, just kind of like trying to follow this strategy. And not only did they get out of alignment there, but it actually hurt their business in a deeper way. And they had to dig out of that. Right. So the understanding here is that we need to kind of see where we're out of alignment. And then the third step here is just to translate those SVPs and all those into that growth plan that I talked about, right? What's a clear, actionable goal that you can get there, right? When we did the Goal Getters workshop, we started off with our why. So we had roots for that, and understanding that the goal is the North Star, right? And I would just make it as simple as this. What's one change you can make in your business that will better align with your strengths, values, and passions, right? So it's not complicated, but it does require some inner reflection, right? It requires us to go, okay, what are my strengths? What are my values? What are my passions? And then having that honest assessment for yourself of, where am I out of alignment with this? And then how can I make changes? What's the plan to move forward? Now, this week, I wanted to just really kind of introduce and give you a nice big overview of it. And this is so crucial to business success, in my opinion, that we're going to actually talk about this for the next few weeks here. But in the meantime, for anybody that's going, okay, this makes sense, I'd like a little bit more. I do offer a complimentary alignment assessment and a strategy call. So I've been able to have some of these calls. In fact, Chandler and I have done it. I'm not sure if Julie, I'm not sure if we've actually done that or not yet. I'm just looking at who's right in the comments here right now. Craig, we haven't. Rena, I don't think we have either. Okay. Yeah. So if you've not, I think this is something that could be really valuable for you. And bonus for me, I get to use my superpower. So, and I get to check the fulfillment box. And so what I would encourage you to do, and again, don't feel like you have to, but this is an offer I want to make to you. If you go to osg.link/SVP, there's going to be a little quick form, really short form that I ask you to fill out. That way we can get the most value out of our 30-minute call together. Once you fill out that form, you will be directed to a link where you can pick a time on my calendar, and we will have that call together. And we just go through those things. What are your strengths, values, and passions? I look at some different ways to look at it. I kind of try to hear what you're saying and maybe give you some different ways to look at it. And then we look at your outcome structures and growth plan, where there might be some alignment opportunities for you, and set some things in motion. So give you lots of stuff. And then, if you feel like it's useful, I even offer up a free actual coaching call, not just a strategy call there. So great opportunity there for you. So again, go to osg.link/SVP and check that out. All right. So that's what I've got for you guys here today. And without Kylene here, it was short and sweet, but I appreciate you guys jumping in and sharing what you thought. What questions do you have about SVPs, right? Like I said, I wanted to give us an overview this week. We're going to get a little bit deeper into it over the next couple of weeks here. And I haven't asked Kylene yet, but I'm putting her on the spot because she wasn't here. She's not here to defend herself. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Not that she's not here to defend herself, but we will on SBS actually go and do that SVP call, that strategy call live, so you guys can see how it works. But in the meantime, just do it. It's not a big deal, but I want to see everybody else to see it too. Okay, this is a great question. Chandler, you might keep me here for a while, and that's totally fine. All right. How can you use them to work with a team of people? The SVPs, right? Okay. So first and foremost, SVPs are all about internal first and foremost, right? So if you've not really been clear about you and your SVPs, it's not going to work with the teams, right? And I'm just saying that for everybody else's benefit. Chandler, I know that you are doing that work, right? Now, the strengths of other people will tell you how to fit them together as a team, right? Because we all do things a little bit differently. And so if you're trying to ask a team member to do something that's way outside of their strength ladder, then yeah, it's just not going to work out, right? It's going to be like swimming uphill in molasses in January or whatever that saying is. All right. So that's where strengths. Their values helps you understand what is important to them, right? So you're not stepping on their values, right? I'm not saying you have to, everybody's got to have the same values, but as a leader, you need to be aware of what other people's values are. So you're not, again, putting them and yourself in a compromising place where you're starting to rub up against their values, right? And then their passions is an opportunity to just support them. We're motivated by the things we're passionate about. So if you can bring some of their passions into the team, then you're going to have lots of opportunities and you're going to watch them take the ball and run with it a lot more than if they're just there as a worker. Right. And so there's a quick how you can use SVPs to do that. But it's something that occurs over time, though, right? Because even for ourselves, we do have to do some digging. We have to give ourselves the space to be honest with ourselves. So unfortunately, there's not like a quick, right? We can get their strengths. We can have them take the high five test, but you also then have to start putting the pieces together. Right. And so that's going to be the challenge for you, Chandler, I think, is just giving yourself that space and patience to allow those pieces to come together without trying to force them together. Right? Because if you take two puzzle pieces and you try to force them together and you keep forcing it, you're going to ruin the puzzle. Right. But if you take your time and you go, okay, well, hold on, let me pull this piece together. No, that doesn't fit. You're going to have to try a few things. Okay, let's get the border built, right? That kind of thing, and go from there. So hopefully that is very helpful. And Chandler, thank you so much for the question. Okay, what other questions do you guys have? But again, gosh, I don't know why I said that. What other questions do you have? Period. Please take the time, if you can, go to osg.link/SVP. If you want to wait and see how it goes and you're going to be tuning in for the next couple of weeks, that's fine. You'll get to see Kylene and I go through it. So, it's not scary. It's not bad. Yes, not forcing. I don't want that. Absolutely. Yeah. And so that's part of this whole thing, right? It's an evolving thing. Like Rena talked about earlier, our strengths, values, and passions do evolve over time, but it's just our understanding of them. Okay. All right. So now it's time to put what you've learned into action. So go look at what your strengths, values, and passions are, see how you are in alignment with those, and then see how you can maybe make adjustments and reach out if you need any help. There is no better time to start than right now. And if you want to keep the conversation going, make sure that you jump into our Facebook group at osg.link/group. And it's an amazing place to keep the momentum going. Start a post on your own, comment on the posts that are in there. I've got some other great posts scheduled for next week as just a way to make us keep thinking more. I think ultimately at the end of the day, if you were to say, what is your one purpose? I think it is to get people to think differently. All right. So I'm 99.9, right? Because it's going to evolve, but that's where we're at today. So a rising tide does lift all boats, you guys. We are here to lift each other up, and appreciate you guys being here with us as often as you can. As my wife always reminds us, lasting change comes from positive energy. Gratitude is your superpower, so embrace it, and let's keep growing together. Again, appreciate your time, and we will talk to you guys again next week.
Dark days, overwhelmed, trapped in a maze. Small business owner, stress had me in a daze. Every problem piled up, couldn't catch a break. Thought I couldn't make it, my dreams were at stake. chasing that dream, sharing struggles and fears. They understood my journey, wiped away my tears. Together we broke through, we